Today I'm going to be very honest with you and tell you exactly why you don't look like you train as hard as you do. It is incredibly frustrating, and I know because I've been there, but lucky for you, I'm going to tell you exactly what you can do about it today. And the best part is, it's not some diet program where your body's going to feel horrible, you're going to be ragged out, you're not going to have any stamina when it comes to your sport. It is going to be things that you can start now. How many times have you stood in front of the mirror thinking, I've worked so hard and I have nothing to show for it? The reasons may not be what you think, and I'm going to share those reasons with you. You will instantly feel better, you'll look better, you'll be able to see the fruits of your labor, and your body will thank you. Let's get into it. Do you wish you could look like you train as much as you do? Are you sick of scouring the internet for sports nutrition tips only to find information tailored to men? Do you wish there was a simple solution to fueling your body for your activity level? Are you ready to find freedom with food? It is possible to have balance between fueling your body for your sport and for enjoyment, and it's not as complicated as you may think. Can we say hello, food freedom? There's a way to have it all and eat your cake too, and I'm going to show you how. Hey, I'm Kristen, a former multi-sport athlete, a sports dietitian, personal trainer, and Jesus lover. In this podcast, you will find practical, sustainable fueling tips for female athletes that will set you free from diet culture, an ever-changing set of nutrition rules, underfueling, and underperforming. You'll learn how to put together a fueling plan that works for you, that doesn't require all the rules, tracking every morsel of food you consume, letting food consume your every thought, with Jesus at the center of it all. If you're ready to find a sustainable nutrition plan that works for you with your active lifestyle and is tailored to your unique physiology, break free from diet culture, and finally feel comfortable in your own skin, this podcast is for you. Whip up that smoothie, lace up your shoes, and let's jump in. I know how frustrating it could be when you feel like you are working your butt off and you train really hard, but you feel like you have nothing to show for it. And you feel like you are doing all the right things, but again, your body is not reflecting all the hard work that you're putting into training. So we're going to talk about this today, why you look like you don't train as hard as you do and what you can do about it. So first, let's talk about there are different body types and genetics. So there's ectomorph, mesomorph, endomorph. Those are 3 different body types, and your genetics deeply influence those. So for example, an ectomorph is somebody who is tall and lanky. They don't really gain muscle or fat very easily. A mesomorph is somebody who's kind of in the middle, where they are going to gain muscle pretty easily, but they could also lose fat fairly easily, but could gain fat pretty easily. And then there's an endomorph. An endomorph is somebody that is going to be super muscular. They look at a weight and they just put on a bunch of muscle, but they can also lose weight very quickly as well. And unfortunately, your genetics do influence that, but your genetics aren't everything. There are things that you can do with your nutrition and also things that you can do with your training that can influence those things. So body composition is going to be affected by what you do, meaning your diet and also your training. And a lot of people say to me, oh, I just want to look more toned and I want to look lean. And really what that boils down to is having muscle and not a lot of fat over that muscle to cover it up. And so that really boils down to your training and your nutrition. So you're going to have individual factors that determine how your body responds to training. For example, hormones and your age, those are things that are going to affect your response to training. But again, going back to genetics, that is going to impact as well. So we're going to talk about the things that you can actually change and you can focus on to get the results that you want. So here are some common reasons you may not look like you train as hard as you do. Number 1 is you're focusing too much on clean eating, and as a result, you're not eating enough or frequently enough. Number 2 is you're not eating enough protein, and I particularly see this in females where we feel like the meal is too heavy if we have a piece of meat in there or a protein source, which really doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you think about it, but I've been there too. I've been guilty of it as well. So you're not eating enough protein is another reason. Number 3 is you're not pushing the weights. You need to lift heavy in order to gain muscle. Number 4 is you're not sleeping enough. Number 5 is you're focusing too much on supplements and you're not your actual diet. So all of these things can create a recipe for disaster when you are trying to get that nice toned look, but it's really not working for you. There is another one, and I think that a lot of people are guilty of this, and that is high stress and as a result, poor recovery. I see people do this all the time where, especially marathon runners, where they sign up for races over and over and over again, or people that are just working out in the gym where they don't ever take a break. And that creates stress on your body. Exercise is a form of stress. It is a good stress, but when you do too much of it, it's not a good stress. It becomes too stressful for your body. And then what happens is your body is not going to recover well from your training sessions anymore, and you're actually not going to be benefiting from those training sessions anymore. So we need to focus on giving ourselves time off from the gym or from running or whatever your sport is. And I want you to think about a professional athlete in this instance. All professional athletes have an on season and an off season. And there's a reason for that, because your body needs rest and it is actually going to perform better if you give it the rest. So we're going to talk about that. So here are some things that you can actually do that are going to help you to see the fruits of your labor. Number 1 is assess and adjust your nutrition. So I am not a fan of counting calories and counting macros long term. However, there are going to be times where I do think counting your macros initially is going to help you to see what you're doing and where your problem areas are. So I would actually recommend starting off with just tracking your protein. You don't need to use a calorie counting app, but what you should do is just write down simply on a piece of paper, or you could take notes in your phone as far as what you're actually eating and approximately how much. And then what you can know or should know is that 1 ounce of protein is equivalent to 7 grams of protein. So if you were to have a piece of chicken that's 3 ounces, that's going to be 21 grams of protein. So track your protein intake for 1 day and just see where you are. Are you getting enough or is it not enough? I would also suggest you focus on nutrient timing. So this means incorporating a pre and post-workout meal or snack. And that's going to help with actually giving your body the fuel it needs for the training session, so you can actually push yourself harder at a lower perceived exertion. And then the post-workout snack or meal is going to help you to recover from your training session. And it actually stimulates muscle protein synthesis, which means you build muscle. So research shows that if you eat before and after a training session, you're actually going to be able to push yourself more and you're actually going to burn more fat. So therefore, you're able to build more muscle and burn more fat. That's like what everybody wants to do. So the next thing that you could do is make sure with your training that you are including progressive overload. So there's several things that you can do to change up your training sessions so that you are constantly challenging your body. So that can be increasing your weight. If you're lifting weights, increasing your reps, increasing the intensity, decreasing the rest time. Let's say if you're a runner, that might be incorporating sprints or doing hills, things along those lines. But know that if you want to build muscle and you want to have that nice toned look, you need to build muscle. And that requires you to lift weights. Don't be scared of lifting weights. That there's nothing wrong with lifting weights. I promise you are not going to get big and bulky. Females just do not have the hormones and the capacity to build muscle without taking some type of substance to make them look like a bodybuilder. It's just not going to happen. So push the weights is what I'm saying here. Make sure that you are balancing cardio and strength training. So if you are doing excessive cardio, that's going to hinder your muscle gains. So you need to really just kind of sprinkle in the cardio. And I would actually recommend doing just a few sessions of true HIIT training, which true HIIT training is only going to take about 10 minutes. And that's where you're really pushing yourself for short bursts. Sprinkle that in maybe twice a week among your weight training. Also, you want to switch up your training. So make sure that you are not doing the same workout over and over again for, 12 weeks or something like that. You need to incorporate that progressive overload. I would also recommend that you are prioritizing sleep and you are incorporating those rest days. So make sure that you are getting 8 hours of sleep, ideally. Some people can go for less, but I would be willing to bet 8 hours is probably going to be a sweet spot for a lot of people. If you have a watch that will track your sleep for you, I would suggest wearing it at night and see how well you're sleeping at night. And if it also tells you what your recovery is, that would be even better because you can see where you need to be in terms of sleep to get the proper recovery. Also, stop looking at Instagram for people telling you what to eat in terms of, how clean your plate needs to be, and, you need to be eating keto or whatever diet or doing intermittent fasting for 16 hours a day. That's not going to help you either. Make sure that you have a solid nutrition plan where you are fueling frequently and consistently throughout the day with enough protein and enough food. The last point is supplements are just that. They are just meant to supplement your diet. If you are not eating properly or eating enough, no supplement in the world is going to fix that. Your diet needs to be adequate for what you're doing. So focus on fueling your body rather than just filling it up with a bunch of supplements. Now that brings me to my next point. We want to embrace a positive mindset and embrace positive body image. So that means focusing on performance over appearance. And I understand if your goal is to build muscle and to look lean and to look toned, you probably don't care about your performance. But hear me out on this. If you are only focusing on your performance, guess what? You're going to get so hung up on that it's just going to be like something that you become fixated on. And I've been there and I've seen lots of clients do this as well. If you can actually focus on doing the correct steps, so let's think of a behavioral outcome. A behavioral means the things that we can actually change, which would mean having the correct amount of protein and eating properly throughout the day and having a pre and post workout snack and getting enough sleep, rather than the outcome. So the outcome would be, looking toned. If you actually just focus on the right steps, then your body, once it gets what it needs, it will actually do the right thing and you will get the results that you want. I promise you. So focus on performance over appearance and also celebrate the small wins. This is not a super duper fast race. It's going to take some time. All the people that you see on Instagram that look amazing, they didn't start training last night. They've been doing this for years, but they needed to have everything properly where it needed to be as far as their training and their nutrition. And that's what I want for you to do. So if you need help with this, I encourage you to check out my online course, which is called the Sustainable Sports Nutrition Academy. And this is all about how to eat in a sustainable way for your body and what your sport is. So it'll teach you exactly how to figure out how many grams of protein, how many grams of carbs, how many grams of fat that you need to be taking in. If you don't want to track those numbers, how you can actually just put that into a balanced plate method and you can be more free in your eating. What to eat for a pre-workout snack, what to eat for a post-workout snack, how to incorporate that into your day, and the nutrient timing of all your meals, and what to do when you are eating out or eating on the go. It explains everything to you. So I highly encourage you to check out that program. It will help you reach those goals in far less time than you just trying to Google everything and trying to figure it out on your own. And the greatest part about it is you can check this program out for just $1. I'm going to include the link in the show notes for you, and I hope that you check it out because I think this will help you reach those goals of feeling like you look as good as you should because of the amount that you train. Hey friend, if this podcast inspired you, encouraged you, or changed you, I would love for you to leave me a review and share it with a girlfriend who will find it helpful or inspiring. That is the best way you can thank me and help me share my knowledge so I can help more people just like you. I'm so thankful that you spent this time with me today, and I'd love to connect with you. Join my Facebook group, Female Sports Nutrition, or send me a DM on Instagram, or hop on over to my website, EliteNutritionPerformance.com. I'll see you back here next week.